call Marshall County Fiscal Court to order April 17th, 2018. And I believe everybody sees we have a lot of students with us today. We're going to be reading a proclamation. They're from South Marshall Middle School, and we asked them to actually take part in the proclamation as far as writing it. Where is that, by the way? You got that? We're going to go ahead and jump to that. They wanted to do a proclamation on carbon monoxide awareness. So I thought it was a good idea when it was brought to my office, and I asked if they would write the proclamation, and they did. And I think that this shows how important it is to you and how important this should be for all of us. So we got quite a few of you here today. Typically, I'll have you up standing behind the when I read this or sign it, and if I don't know if we can cram everybody up here, but kids, come on up here behind the fiscal court, and you wrote this so you can take part in this. Squeeze everybody in. All right. I will read this. A proclamation in honor of lives touched by carbon monoxide poisoning. This was written April 13, 2018, whereas carbon monoxide is a very dangerous gas. Over 20,000 to 30,000 people are affected by inhaling the poisonous gas. By inhaling carbon monoxide, about 500 people die a year. Several common appliances such as ovens, refrigerators, and gas heating units emit this toxic gas. If these appliances break down, they can emit the toxic carbon monoxide into the air, and if inhaled over a long period of time, it can cause death. Whereas carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless gas that causes you to have flu-like symptoms. If you breathe in a large amount of carbon monoxide, you may experience loss of consciousness, seizures, and death. Whereas, to ensure your safety, install a carbon monoxide detector. The detector is easy to install. You just need to put the date you purchased it on the back of the monitor, insert the batteries. In case of a power outage, and plug it in or hang it on the wall. Whereas when carbon monoxide gas leaks occur, you must get out of the house immediately and call 911. When the ambulance or firefighter shows up, they will search the house and stop the carbon monoxide leak. Whereas when your carbon monoxide detector goes off, you must get out of the house immediately and call your local gas company. When they arrive, they will locate the leak and repair it. If you inhale carbon monoxide, it will be in your best interest to go see a doctor. Though you may not feel the effects, they can harm you. Therefore be it resolved that I, the Honorable Kevin Neal, County Judge Executive of Marshall County, by virtue of the authority vested in me by this county, do hereby proclaim the day of Tuesday, April 17th of Marshall County Carbon Monoxide Awareness Day in Marshall County, Kentucky. Kids, I applaud y'all. I think there's been somebody that may have been personally affected by carbon monoxide in this group, right? That's right. Thank you. Did everybody get your photos? Do you have anything to say? Do y'all have anything to say? No? All right. Well, thank you. And to the...
Ask them where you're supposed to.
Oh, I know, yeah.
That's a great question.
That's who that was.
Anita brought up a great question. Is there somebody here that can answer this question? And if so, there's a microphone up here. we're curious, where would you install this carbon monoxide detector? Come on up. State your name if you don't mind.
My name is Paige Dufour. You would install the detector around like bedrooms and doorways that you see every day, and you would put it at eye level so you could see it directly and not have to like bend down and see it, because by the time that the carbon monoxide reaches the floor when you plug it in, it's already a very dangerous level because gas rises. So for it to be at the bottom, it would be dangerous. So it's better to put it at eye level.
At eye level. Well, great. That answers that question. Does anybody else have any questions? You know, it's one, I know when this was brought to my attention, and I talked to Ms. Maddox, this is something that we typically, we forget about, carbon monoxide, because you can't see it, you can't smell it. So it's something that we just don't think about in our homes or even in our businesses, but it's very dangerous. And when she shared with me her story, I thought that that was great that the class, you kids got behind it and pushed this initiative, and hopefully the people that watch this fiscal court meeting will spread the word and maybe go out, either check their own homes for carbon monoxide detectors, and maybe even update if they do have some old ones. So this is a good initiative for the students here today, and I applaud y'all for that. Thank you. Does anybody else have anything they want to share with us while you got us? Okay. Thank you. Is Bobby Hamilton here from Jim Smith Contracting? Hello, Bobby. You should have in your packet. Do you just want to give us a brief overview of the summary you sent me? Good morning, sir.
Sure. Good morning. Last fiscal court meeting, Jim Smith Contracting was awarded the Howard Branch Creek Bridge on Calvert City Road. Our survey crew and engineering crew went out and did a full topographical survey. The 74-foot bridge would fit great, but when we reviewed it, it was discovered that we could really make a shorter bridge work. We was able to shorten it up to 59 feet, still maintain 3-to-1 front slopes, and the overall savings to the county would be $21,924. So if the county wishes to pursue that, we need to make a decision so we can get beams ordered, because the completion date is June 30th.
Okay.
Getting the beams made is going to be critical to beat that date.
And I don't know if that's something, Jason, that we need to, I think we need to make a motion on that. Something that the court would entertain as a motion.
Is there any, what about, is there any reason the state needs to be involved in reviewing this, or is this enough of a review as is?
The state.
State engineers, they do a lot of our bridge inspections. Usually they make their recommendation. Wasn't that a recommendation, 74 feet by the state engineer? Is that not true?
I don't know. I think that was the existing, was that the
Yeah,
existing?
I mean, I think that was before the topo studies and stuff were done on the location, but they're in your packet also where you can look at those. I mean, I feel like, you know, what Bobby's recommending will work fine.
Okay. Oh, I just thought, you know, we have a state inspect them. I mean, they help us occasionally inspect, especially our longer bridges.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be sure we were within the parameters that would not cause us any problems. Okay, no, that's not a problem.
Your existing bridge is only 30 foot, by the way.
Right, well, that's what I understood. It was shorter. I knew it had to be longer, and I was thinking it was the state that recommended 74, but I may be wrong. I don't know. Where did we get the 74 to
Yeah,
begin
they had
with?
been out there before and looked at it also, and, you know, done an estimate on what they thought it would be.
Okay,
That's what it was, but.
okay. I mean, I don't have any problem. I would make a motion that we go with this 59-foot bridge?
Yeah.
If it meets, if it looks like it's, would be engineered to do so.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Certainly, thank you for
Thank you, Bobby.
being honest enough to come
Yeah.
back and save us $22,000. That's very commendable.
All right, you're welcome.
Let's see, Fair Dealing Olive Fire Protection District. Is there anybody from Fair Dealing? That was that the Pioneer? So they filed it, so,
See the clerk's stamp certificate
No.
on that.
now is that May 1st?
Yeah, May 1st, so.
We can do the public hearing
Should
on May
be in,
1st.
the first publication should be in today's paper.
Okay.
And then the next one will be in next week's paper, and then.
We have that?
Then we'll have May
will be
1st.
the public
Okay.
hearing. Yep.
So we'll set a public hearing for that annexation for May 1st. Do we gotta give a specific time? I thought we did. You just wanna do 10?
We usually do. I don't know if I don't think the did the publication have a time on
Jim
it?
Smith Construction.
Just say 9:30.
9:30?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do a
Oh, yeah, okay. Missed it first.
public meeting May 1st at 9:30 for the Fair Dealing Olive Fire Department annexation of Pioneer District, so. Any questions on that? Fleet maintenance, just to update y'all, Coroner Watwood and representatives from Johnson Creek went up to Frankfurt, looked at the vehicles, and they did not find any one of those vehicles to fit their needs. They were either in bad shape or just wasn't what they were looking for. So just wanted to update y'all on that. Let's see, Relay for Life concert for a Cure, May 5th, 2018. It's going to be at the Morris County High School gym. Begins at 4 o'clock. General admission is $10. Registered survivors free. Survivor ceremony at 5 p.m. Purchase tickets at all CFSB locations, WCBL, WCCK, Morris County Libraries, Parker's Quick Lube, Sensen Moore, and Jones Birch. It's going to be Wade Hayes as the entertainer and Caleb Swift. They're going to be the entertainers. So that's May 5th, 2018 at 4 p.m. Let's see, personnel changes, 4/17/18, John Thomas Coleman, new full-time retired, re-employed court security hire, date March 12th, 2018, $18 per hour. Dan Malone, Sheriff's Department, resignation, March 9th, 2018. Brantley Barrett, Road Department, wage increase from $20.78 to $21.03, effective March 16th. This year, Michael Atkins, Road Department, wage increase from $20.78 to $21.03, effective March 16th. Benny Garland, Road Department, wage increase from $17 to $17.64, effective March 16th. Lisa Carter, County Attorney, retired March 31st, 2018. Alexandria Belcher, new full-time dispatch hire, date is March 21st, 2018 at $12.99 per hour. Just to update y'all, I had spoke with Sean Skidmore, who's the branch manager at the Kentucky Department of Agriculture. That was back late March, I think it was March 28th, and they will have mosquito spraying starting up this month. I don't have the exact date, but they will be going out in the county and spraying for mosquitoes. I know I've had a few people call in reference to mosquito spraying, so we'll put the information, once we get it, more specific information, we'll put that on the webpage and Facebook so that people can contact the right person. I'm going to their old business, approved the minutes for April 10th, 2018 meeting.
Motion to approve. Second.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance 2018-01, budget amendment, second reading.
An ordinance relating to the annual budget and amendment thereof, whereas the County of Marshall has received additional funds, now be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Marshall County that Section 1, the annual budget for fiscal year 2017-2018 is amended to increase revenue accounts by $1,084,899.71 and to increase expenditures by $1,084,899.71. The amounts added to the revenue and expenditure accounts in Section 1 are for governmental purposes, approved by the Marshall County Fiscal Court the 20th day of February 2018 for your first reading. The state and local finance officer approved on 28th of March, and this amendment to the budget ordinance was adopted by the Marshall County Fiscal Court in Kentucky. Will be April 17th.
Is there a motion?
A motion to accept the budget amendment. Looks like we got the FEMA dollars for the Sharkow Bridge. That's good.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance 2018-02, speed limit, Levitt Lane, Gray Lane, and Colson Lane, second reading.
All right, this will be the second reading. Be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Marshall County, Commonwealth of Kentucky, in accordance with the provisions set forth in KRS 189-395A, based upon the request of affected citizens and after review by the Marshall County Road Superintendent, the Marshall County Fiscal Court does hereby set the speed limit at 15 miles per hour for the following roads located in Marshall County, Kentucky: Levitt Lane, Gray Lane, Colson Lane.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the speed limit ordinance.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance 2018-03, speed limit, El Dorado Lane and Woodridge Drive, second reading.
Be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Marshall County, Commonwealth of Kentucky, in accordance with the provisions set forth in KRS 189-395A, and based on the request of affected citizens and after review by the Marshall County Road Superintendent, the Marshall County Fiscal Court does hereby set the speed limit at 25 miles per hour for the following roads located in Marshall County, Kentucky: El Dorado Lane and Woodridge Drive.
Is there a motion?
Motion to accept the ordinance.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Jason, do you know if Jeff, I see Perry sitting here, do you know if Jeff got the ordinance information on the responsible bidder?
He's got it, yeah.
Okay, but he does have it? Okay. 'Cause
We
I haven't-
enacted it
I haven't.
last month, but he was asked, he was going to bring back to this body at this meeting. He promised us he would have that information, additional questions, and if it just pertained to money spent by this body or money spent in Marshall County.
Okay, but he does have it.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, because I haven't received it from him, so I just wanted to double check.
Is he going to be here
I
today?
will find out
Yeah, he was,
today.
he had a temporary removal hearing at 9:30, so it should be anytime now.
If he's got that, then it'll probably be May 1st, our next court meeting, that we do that. I see you sitting back here, so I just want to make sure we cover that.
He's coming today?
Yeah.
Okay, if he's coming in the meeting, can you tell him just to bring it with him today? We'll review it today.
The bid for mowing, we tabled that. You should have gotten, you want to update on that?
You all should have had the information you requested in your box from what I got from him, so had time to review questions or anything. The only one I didn't get a response from is the Marshall Strong Landscaping. I didn't get a response from him on liability insurance or references.
Well, I know, Justin Edwards well, he's very reputable, he's got several good references, and he's gonna save us quite a bit of money over the bid we had from, Atkins Lawn Service.
Yeah, Justin, I didn't realize that's who that was. My concern was that one was 45,000, one was 18,000, the other was 13,500, and that's quite a range of for the same 19 properties. But I also know Justin Edwards. I didn't realize that's who that was, and he is a very reputable businessman, and he will do what he says he'll do. So I move that we accept his bid of $13,500 for mowing of the 19 properties.
Is that JE Services?
Yes.
And I guess just for the record, I spoke with Mr. Coddington, who submitted the $12,000 bid on the Taco John's card. He withdrew his bid, so.
Okay.
Michael?
Was there
Atkins-
questions about the hours and
On the JE Services?
whoever? I knew there
Yeah,
was some,
I don't think that was a concern after
Okay.
talking to Jeff.
okay.
Michael Atkins done a really good job, but, I mean, certainly this is, I don't see any reason that we can't, just take this low bid, because I agree. From what I can see, J&E Services, I think they'll do the job.
I'll echo what Bob said. Michael Atkins has had this thing for, I think, 3 years in a row, and it's the first time in about 10 or 12 years. I think that is accurate, that whoever had it the previous year got it the next year, because they realized that they way underbid it, and they were losing money, and like I say, that's a very, very good price. Michael Atkins did an admirable job all 3 years.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Fluid secure quote, this was tabled. Again, this is fuel management for the entire county. Their discussion.
I know I was asked to get some references for this group. I know I put an article in front of you guys just this morning, but I did reach out to two of their two I guess groups that are currently using the fluid secure system, and I'll read those to you. One's from Laura Preston. She's the Assistant Director of Transportation, Liberty Public Schools in Liberty, Missouri. We were purchasing the Century Gold system from Track. If you remember last year, we looked at Century Gold, which is also one of the solutions that Track Engineering first put in front of us. So they looked at purchasing the Century Gold system from Track, but right before the install was to go in, they called to tell if the new fluid secure system they were coming out with, tell them about the new fluid secure system they were coming out with. Not only did it save us about $15,000, it was better technology. We were the first to get the install, and our drivers love it. It's easy to use, and the reports we get are accurate and help us track data that we never were able to before. Their support has been great. The system satisfied the requests from auditors also. So far, we are very pleased with this. The other one is from David Norman. He is the Division Director of Support Services at the Kentucky Horse Park. This is what he had to say. The system is simple to use, which is great with the turnover we have here at the park. We're able to track fuel used by user, vehicle, group/department, and third parties that we bill back, horse shows. Using the Wi-Fi does give people hesitation, but the system has been very dependable. I would say 99% connection rate. Our system is set up with a tablet on each fuel tank, one for diesel and unleaded, with each an independent Wi-Fi connection. We have each piece of equipment labeled here on the park, along with department codes to help track usage. Hope this helps. If you have any questions, let me know. So those are the two references that I reached out to.
We talked about bidding this. Is there not other companies that got something similar?
Well, this was one of the vendors at one of the CAECO conferences that they were sponsored CAECO. So we looked at one last year, and I can't remember what the name of it was, but this was the Track Engineering was the one that offered the Century Gold that was about $40,000 that we budgeted for this year. And then when I reached back out, it kind of got tabled. We got busy with other things. And when I reached back out to them this year, they told us about the fluid secure system, which was significantly less at $13,000. So if we just went with the system and not the add-ons, it would be that $13,000 that we had talked about.
We think we can recoup that value, I mean, in actual dollars, or is there, I mean, is it just gonna be accountability?
Yeah, and
not necessarily,
it's those soft dollars that you're not going to see, you know, the efficiency of it, the reporting, the accuracy. You know, some things that we may not know, like I said before, when we talked to these groups last year, they said about, I don't know, 90% of the time they saw where, and I'm not saying that's the case with us, but about 90% of the time they saw a savings in fuel that they didn't know where it was going. So that's just something to keep in mind. Again, those are kind of, from what we see as an efficiency thing for our operations.
I think when you talk about efficiency, for an example, just so that people can understand, if we want to fuel up our, say, our Jeep that we have outside, we drive past the sheriff's department that's got a fueling system. We drive to the road department and we fuel up. And likewise, if the sheriff's got a deputy out on that end of the county that needs to fuel up, if he's by the parks or the road department, they can fill up. So with the entire county being able to fuel up at any one of those three locations, those are some of the soft dollars. I don't know how you can determine the savings on that, but it does make sense that if we can just run down the road, fuel up, and not have to drive all the way to the road department. And two, from the management piece, right now the way we do it, by giving the dollars to each department, we have that one line item where fuel dollars are put in, and then with the tracking system, each employee, employees from that department, then that department can be billed. So it's just a more accountable and more efficient on the fuel.
Brad, the two references you've got, what size are they talking about? Because I know with us, it would probably be with all the entities combined, it'd be well over 100 to 125 vehicles, if not more than that.
Yeah, I didn't get that number from them, but I would say with the Kentucky Horse Park, I'm not sure. I mean, they probably have a lot more utility vehicles that they fill up and trucks, and but I didn't get a size from them. Now I would say that from the price that the Liberty Public Schools, I mean, I'm assuming that that's going to be buses and those types of vehicles, and since it was a savings about $15,000 from the first solution to this solution, I would say we're pretty comparable in size with that group. So, and really what it comes down to is how many places are you going to have fueling, you know, as far as the equipment, as far as that goes. Where your cost gets driven up is on that last quote where it's the RFID readers or how many the key fobs that you use. That's where your price is going to go up. But as far as like just the system with the tablet, it doesn't matter how many you have in your fleet.
The two references, what package did they get? Did they get the bare minimum at $13,000, or did they, I know there was concern expressed for just going with the $13,000, and I have followed up and talked to well over 20 of our employees from top to bottom since last week's meeting, and just, try to fill out their concerns and so forth. And every entity is a little bit different as far as the road department, from the parks to the sheriff's office where we have fuel. And I heard there were some concerns about the road department being aligned because they're a little bit different. They basically fuel up every day, a day like yesterday, or when they're pushing snow and so forth. And if it's going to be more time-consuming than just zeroing it out. And, you know, the way they do it now, they just zero it out and you know, chart how many gallons they put in and put it on a piece of paper, and they go. And there was a little probably apprehension that that wasn't going to go as quickly with this system.
Well, I see it being more, faster. You don't have to worry about a piece of paper. You're doing it from a tablet, and you're just punching in a 4-digit code that identifies
Well,
you.
this is the time to do that. You don't have to do any punching. All you do is zero it out and push pump the gas.
Yeah, we're not talking like another 10 minutes. I mean, talking like punching 4 digits,
Well,
punching 4 digits.
After that discussion, they couldn't get around in all those sites. They couldn't get around the time clock issue and so forth, and the change to that technology, and that would seem to be a concern of theirs when we were discussing the 20-plus employees that I talked to about the bugs in that. Is it going to be the same problems and so forth?
Let's be clear, because I've actually used this system before, and I think everybody in this room actually uses a system. When you go to the gas pump and fill up your personal vehicle, you're doing the exact same thing. You're entering information, you're swiping that credit card or that debit card, you're doing the exact same thing. So the comparison of this type of a system to Time Clock Plus is a little bit different.
I'm just talking about their concerns, and I think that the people that use the equipment, I value the opinions of our employees, and I welcome their comments, and that's why before issues, they're going to be the ones using that equipment, and I certainly think they deserve their opinions to be heard and their comments to be heard, and I certainly cherish and value those comments.
Sure, but you said their comments were the ability to punch in a 4-digit code.
No, I didn't say that.
Or is it
time?
time?
Can it be justified financially, the cost of that program
Well, you budgeted for it last year. This year,
If you look at going to a gas station and fueling up your vehicle, it's essentially the exact same thing. I don't think our gas stations or us, we'd be complaining if you went to a gas station X down the road and it took you 5 minutes to fuel up compared to gas station B down the road. Guess which one, whichever one is faster, that's the one you're going to be going to. So every day we fill up our vehicles, the software that they have at our gas stations and fueling systems. I know when I was in the police force, we did the exact same thing. Even in the military, we did the exact same thing. The software is out there. Agencies are using it. There's a reason why they're using it. And if it's an educational piece for certain employees, well, then that's on us to educate them on how to use that piece of equipment. But if it's the leaders that are making the decisions for the county, we already discussed this in the budget. Everyone was fine with it when we discussed it in the budget. I'm just trying to understand where the problem is today.
Like I said, I asked, since last Tuesday, I visited 20-plus of our employees and to get their feel and concerns, because they're the ones that are going to be using the technology and so forth. And I said is I value their opinion and welcome their comments, and that's just what I did. I think we need to ask the people that are going to be using the equipment, their concerns and so forth, and that's just what I did.
The ones I talked to yesterday also, they're not in favor of this at all.
Did you talk to the department heads?
No, employees.
You'll have about an annual, a little over $8,000 annual then fee.
Yeah, there's
It won't be $13,000 initially, and then
Right.
a little over $8,000 a year.
The only other concern that I've got was what I mentioned to you last time is after hours with the road department and the park system, what's logistics going to work out to where we have access to those, because I know there's locked gates, and I don't know that y'all want 30 keys out
Right.
there.
Yeah, and I think we talked about coming up with a solution to
Yeah.
address that.
That's That's one of the main concerns I have for us, because we run 24/7 other than, you know.
Yeah, when we spoke last time, that we discussed that, and one of the things was actually having a system in place to where when you go through the gate, only those county fleet vehicles can actually access through the gate. That was something that we had
Kind of
discussed.
automatic unlocking.
Yeah.
But, I mean, does it have value? I mean, it sounds like it possibly would have value for y'all fueling up in anywhere.
There would be situations to where the guys would, you know, be on something, be running close to, you know, if we're coming through Draftonville, it would be convenient to stop off there and try to get to the office or whatnot. I mean, I can see advantages of it, but that was my big concern is if things are locked, how are we going to get over that hurdle, you know, because, you know, it needs to stay
All
locked.
those entities are locked. The road department locks up when? 3:30?
Yeah, then I
3:30,
think it's either 10 or 11 o'clock at the park is when they close the gates there, yeah.
In future planning, and I know we've sat down, and Wendy and I have talked about this, when you've got road department or even your guys that are out on the south end or north end of the county, eventually having like a satellite put in to where you can have salt on the south end of the county. That way they don't have to come all the way back and fill up their dump trucks or their vehicles with salt. And putting a fueling system there like this, just like this article says, it's unmanned, it's managed, and the data is real-time data, and it's secure. But that allows those agencies that are driving all over the county to have access to fuel up. It's the first step to get to a more accountable fleet fuel management system.
I wouldn't have, I mean, I really have, we can try this, I mean, if it doesn't gain us anything, I mean, and over that time, we can evaluate it,
Sure.
you know, at the next time. I mean, I could move to just do the 12,593,
And the
and that initial, for an initial trial and for this year, this budget, this coming up, is it gonna be this coming budget year?
No, it'll be this, but the one that we're in right now.
Okay, you'll start here,
And if you, yeah,
run through next May or whatever, and we can evaluate it then.
Yes. And did they say that they would, I can't remember if they would actually come out, I thought they said they'd come out and actually not only demonstrate it,
Oh,
but show how to, so if there's any employees that, you know, don't know how to fuel up.
Before we do the annual fees again next year, we need to evaluate and see if we've gained anything at all.
What,
Brad, with that plan, the 12,593, what all do you have to put in, you know?
Four digits that identify you as the employee, the four digits that or two, whatever it is, that'll identify the vehicle, and then your mileage. So it's the same information you're putting down on the sheet currently, just electronically, so when it all dumps into that admin system where you can access it and see where your guy filled up when and how much.
in the event of a power outage, what is the,
There's a key that
Okay.
will override the system so that you'll identify you and, you know, someone else, same with Wendy, that will override the system. And
okay, so there's no kind of battery backup system that's on it if
no,
it loses
and,
power?
I mean, I can ask about that. That might be something that they can install additionally, but I didn't ask. They just showed that override system with the key.
Anyway, to me, I would also look at, if we do this, look at other remote locations.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, that sounds like to me, if we was gonna get any value out of this, it would be being able to put something in the
Yes.
north end and the south end of the county where you could actually,
Yeah, and same way with our salt, just like Judge said, we'd talked about before. We have, our hardest thing as far as snow removal and stuff is all the trucks that's in Aurora having to drive all the way back into the shop to get salt and go back out. I mean, it's like an hour round trip for them to just get out there to spread salt, so something like that in the future would be nice.
Talking about these remote sites, do keep in mind that my setup that I've got down there, that was the last year that will exist, because it's grandfathered in, all the codes and stuff has changed. So it's quite expensive to put in a fueling station now, because you can't do it like what
Can't do
I've
it
got.
like
There's a whole lot of more hoops to jump through, and that changed the year after I put that in. And that's why I wasn't interested in moving anything because of that.
I think what I'm hearing is that maybe the employees that, from what I heard explained today, which last Tuesday was the first that I'd heard of this program, and I assume the first that Bob and Johnny had heard of this method of monitoring the fuel. And I think maybe our employees are a little apprehensive because they're not, they haven't had it explained to them, as we didn't have it explained to us until just again this morning. And so I think maybe that's why their opinions were not on the positive side. I think if we educate our employees, I think they may have a better response. And I would certainly, before purchasing that, I would like to see that they're satisfied and get the department heads to ask the employees and explain to them what's going on and seeing if they're satisfied and their opinions have changed, because it was not a whole lot of positive comments that I'd received from the 20-plus employees that I spoke to this last week.
Well, not being involved in that dialogue, I think, too, it's how you deliver it to the employees. I know, speaking myself,
But
and
it
I don't know if
hasn't been
anybody
delivered.
else
That's
has
my
had
point.
this type of system. I've actually used this type of system, not specifically the track, but actually going up to a fueling system because of fleet management. I've been involved in a fleet management before my entire career, both in the military and law enforcement, and it's not that hard. You actually plug in a 4-digit code. You put in your mileage. It's a tracking system, and it really, it's just like going to the gas station and filling up your vehicle. But I am a believer in training, and if there are employees that we have who don't know how to fill up a vehicle with this type of system, you train them, you show them, you demonstrate it to them. That's part of the package that this company provides, is they actually even train us as administrators how to manage that system, because one of the advantages with this system is it's in some cases these systems can be accurate to where if you put in the wrong mileage on the vehicle, you'll be notified if you're the administrator, and then that data can be corrected at a later date. You go back and you check and you contact that employee or the department head, and you make sure you get the correct information. It's good data in, good data out. But this is not a hard system to teach our employees. And that training, the process in teaching our employees how to do that, I mean, we've demonstrated that over the past few years. When we get something new, we go down and we actually train the employees how to use the new systems that are being implemented. So I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Yeah, and I think just, you did bring up time clock, and there was, sure, we did some training, and they were apprehensive about it at first, but I think today they're all pretty much comfortable with it. So
That's the comment that I made, and that nothing could be farther from the truth. Across the board, we couldn't even talk about this without that being an issue and brought up.
What's the issue then? What's the issue with that?
Just the
Having to
bugs
punch a
and so
four,
forth.
having to
that-
punch a
Well,
four-digit number?
I think the question here is
If you
are
get
we,
out and go
hang on a
talk to the
second,
employees,
are we
you'll find out the same thing
accurate
that I found
on
out.
paying our employees?
Are we
Are
accurate?
we accurate in paying our employees?
Yes, the employees have access to their vacation and sick and comp allowances if they choose to have those, where before they didn't have personal access to that.
And I want to make sure that when we discuss these issues, that we look at it from what the fiscal court's responsibility is. This fiscal court, we debated this time clock plus system. The fiscal court approved it. We implemented it. We've trained our employees. The employees are getting paid. Now, you're going to have employees that don't like change. They may not like the system. And I can't say that that's the employees that you've spoken to, but we don't have areas where we're having gross negligent on paying our employees.
No, I didn't say that. They have problems. They have problems. Their biggest concern was when with the 240 hours of vacation, that's the way that has changed. You know, in the middle of the week, they'll have to take off and
Changed that.
do what?
You changed that.
I understand that, but I'm hearing feedback, and like I say, when I value their opinions and welcome their comments, and
What
after
does that have to
something
do
is
with
put
time
in,
clock?
after something is put in place, that's what I said, the time clock issue, I couldn't even talk about. That's the thing that they wanted to divert the attention from this fuel, and they were skeptical or a little apprehensive about that because of the way that the other has worked and so forth. I mean, I'm talking from top to bottom, 90% of the people that
So
I've
what is
talked
it
to
not-
brought up the.
What is it not doing? I'm
Go
confused.
ask them. Yeah, I'm not going to throw
No, you
people
talk
under
to
the
'em.
bus, and I realize that. You go talk to them, and that's what needs to
I've been out-
happen.
I've been out to each department,
Okay.
and
Well,
I've trained them.
apparently they don't
and I've-
feel comfortable speaking to you as they do speaking to me, and I'm just telling you what I heard. I'm not going to name names and throw
Well,
people
that's
under the
fine.
bus, but
Then tell me what.
but I'm saying 90% of the people.
I'm not asking for names. I just want to know what you've heard.
Well, you go ask. You can go out and talk to these people
I'm
and
asking
find
you
out
what
the
you've heard.
problems.
I'm
just
asking
telling
you what
you
you've
can do
heard.
the same thing I did.
So if they're not comfortable talking to me, then why don't you tell me what they said?
I'm just telling you what they said.
You
I
said
thought I
something
told
about
that from the
vacation.
get-go.
You said something about vacation, 240 hours they have to take. I mean, that's something that you guys changed in the admin code. That's not,
Here's something that, and to support what Brad's asking, any information that has been brought to us from the road department or any of the departments, he has gone down and spoken to or trained the employees on these issues. So I think when an issue gets brought up today about Time Clock Plus from somebody outside, that just goes down. We don't know what the dialogue was, but we do know that when issues are brought to our office for the Time Clock Plus, and it's not just the road department. When we first implemented this, we knew that there was going to be it's a change. It's a change of a piece of equipment. It's a change in how they do this, from the manual punching of the clock to something that's more accurate. But through that change process, that growing pain, if you will, for learning that system, majority of the employees, they had issues, they had questions, and it was his responsibility to make sure that they understood it. I can see from up here, the employees, they all had issues, or if they did have issues, they were worked out. So I want to make it clear that if there are employees that don't like Time Clock Plus, that's fine. They may not like it, but there's just some things with change that it is what it is. This court approved it. They're not getting not getting paid. They're getting the benefits that are stated in the administrative code. So it's not an issue that the system is failing. So I want to make sure that there's a difference in that. The system, Time Clock Plus, is not failing. It's just the simple user end of it. So there are just as many other employees that are fine with it. They've been trained on it and they know how to use it. But are there going to be employees that don't like something? Sure. It doesn't matter in what county government, city government, private sector, change is always going to be difficult for people. But that's our responsibility to teach them how to use the equipment. But what we're discussing today is fueling up a vehicle. We do it every day. And it's using this system that will help us as a county government be more accurate in our management of fuel.
I think we're trying to fix something that's not even broke. I've not seen any documentation that we're wasting fuel.
we didn't say we were.
It's not an issue, and I want to make sure that it's clear. When we discussed this back when we did the budget, it's not an issue of wasting fuel or theft of fuel. That's not the issue here. If you can think of the bigger picture of what we were just discussing as far as where we know that we can be more accurate with fuel management is where, like Wendy was saying, when she has a driver that drives all the way out to Aurora and then has to drive all the way back to the road department, and they have to fill out their sheets when they fuel up, there is an opportunity for us to make it more efficient, to where if we can put something like this in place to where you don't have to man it, and it accounts for the fuel when they fuel up, and then we can change how we budget the dollars to one line item for each department, and then long-term, maybe another budget year, we can actually put these satellites in to where they're unmanned fueling platforms, to where they don't have to drive back and get fuel. And if we can put salt out in the south end or north end of the county, they don't have to drive back to get salt. They can fuel up and get their salt. And there is going to be a savings there. Now, what exactly are those dollars? We don't know.
My motion was set because I wanted us to look at the remote sites. I felt like if we could get this in place and we evaluate it for a year, then it's a good opportunity for us to go to remote sites. And I think that would provide some savings and some convenience. It's not just get fuel, it's time.
Yes.
Big thing when you're moving.
Wouldn't that be something you do at one time?
I mean, I don't know if we're going to want to keep this system. I mean, it's just like you said, it may not be good enough to keep, and then we'd need to look at exactly what Kevin brought up. I don't know what kind of hoops we've got to jump through from an EPA environmental standpoint to put the fueling systems in, but I didn't think it would be enormous. Either it may be double-sided tanks or whatever, but we ought to be able to, think we'd be able to do
the
that.
barrier's the big thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you got to either have some kind of a containment
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
system, absolutely, but, I think that could be managed. But anyway, that's the reason I felt like we could, in a lot of cases, possibly down the road, that we could get into a situation where it was a big help from a logistics standpoint.
Two additional questions. Is this system like the one we looked at before, that it identifies vehicle and driver both?
By the code that you put in, it does.
Yeah.
The additional ones were the kind of automated system. So
Okay.
this is identifying, you've got a personalized
Because
code.
we've got specialized vehicles
Yes.
that, so it'll identify
Yes.
the vehicle and whoever the driver is too. Second thing is, auditors with us is a whole lot different than auditors with y'all, and I didn't know if y'all had checked with them to see if this is a good fit for them, because I've got to do so much redundancy with the system that I've got set up now, and that was at the request of the auditors, and,
This one, I know that one of the references did say they satisfied, I think it was the school system said that it satisfied their auditors. Now, again, like you said,
Like
your
I said.
auditor's a little different. But I think that,
We can
One's
find that
different,
out.
but
I
we
mean,
yeah, I would really like to know that, because it is what it is. The sheriff's offices are scrutinized a whole lot more than any other, government entity in the state, and I want them to be comfortable where it's not going to cause sheriff's office problems, if you know what I mean. I don't think it will, but I'd like to know the answer to that.
we can find that out. I think there's a motion on the table. Bob's motion is to try this for a year, to see if it's beneficial. Is there a second?
Not me. You haven't sold this to the employees yet. They're the ones that I have to answer to, so I'm gonna put a no vote in.
Well, I think the employees, we discussed that. If it's a training issue, they get trained on the fueling of a vehicle.
No vote.
We just need a second motion. I'll second the motion. I think this is the first step to a good fleet management or fleet fuel management, as we discussed in the budget year. We budgeted for this. There was a lot of work put into this. And I think we owe it to the taxpayers to at least look into this. I've yet to hear that there is an issue of individuals who can't fuel their vehicles. I don't think that's an issue at all, actually. So I'll make the second motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Motion dies with a tie. And just for the record, that was a budgeted item for the county, and that was countywide fuel management system. Those dollars are still budgeted for this fiscal year. Move on to the bid, the power load cot fasting system. When we pulled the bid last court meeting, communication with the Tribune Carrier was made from the court clerk. There were several items that were sent. This was the only item that wasn't advertised. And once that was received, it was after we had approved the bid, so we have to do the whole process all over again. I don't think we got a reason why it wasn't advertised, but it was failed to be advertised. So with that, Jeff, do we have to go through the whole advertisement process, start all over again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It'd have to be advertised.
We need a motion to have it advertised, or is it already the motion that was presented, I think, 2 court meetings ago? Is that motion enough to have it advertised and then?
That was just a failure of advertisements.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, it won't have to go through all that, but just make sure it has to run.
Okay. All the parties were contacted. Brian was contacted, and I think the company was contacted as well.
Opening date and all that would obviously have to be moved.
Move forward. Okay. Under new business, we already did the proclamation. Part-time new hires. Let's see. The road department, Jimmy Allen is hired, seasonal, $12 an hour, effective date of May 1st, 18. Road department, George Hicks. Let's see, back up here. Position for Mr. Allen is going to be a laborer. Position title for George Hicks is a laborer, seasonal, $12 an hour. Effective date of personnel action is May 1st, 2018. Roger Youngblood, laborer, seasonal, $12 an hour. Effective date May 1st, 2018. And we need a motion for.
Follow the mowers, people.
Yes, they follow.
We need a motion.
Yep, motion to approve the part-time hires.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Treasurer's report.
They get insurance from Wendy, they do, they don't.
March 31st, 2018, general fund had a book balance of $1,026,566. Road fund, $1,185,347.97. Jail fund, $201,444.07. Grant fund, 0. 911 fund, $138,382.24. Occupational tax administrator, $6,304,771.94. Veterans van fund, 0. ABC fund, $140,000, $140,403.39. Building inspection fund, $33,872.31 for total reporting funds of $9,030,787.92.
Motion to approve treasurer's report.
Second.
That's subject to audit.
Subject to
All
audit.
those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The, one thing I want to bring up on this, the Veterans Van Fund, we got rid of that and moved that to the Veteran Support Group. We need to remove that from this because we no longer have that account. What's the process in
I'll
doing
need to
that?
get approval from the court to close that account at the bank.
Can we get,
There's no finances in there now.
No, it's a
Okay.
zero balance. We moved all those monies to the support group.
So moved.
Second.
all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Treasurer's quarterly report.
The quarterly report reflects the same balance of $9,030,787.92.
Motion to approve the treasurer's quarterly report, subject to audit.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Encumbrance report.
General fund had an encumbrance balance of $80,754.14. Road fund, $76,538.47. Jail fund, $23,408.86. 911 fund, $2,985.72. ABC, $6,004.49. Building inspection, $3,887.95, for a total of $193,579.63 encumbered from quarter ending March 31st.
Motion to approve the encumbrance report.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Interfund transfer.
I'm asking permission to move from occupational tax fund to 911 fund, $80,216.50. This is the budgeted quarterly subsidy.
Motion to approve the transfer.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Appropriations transfer.
Your appropriation transfers balance out to zero. Most of these are a departmental transfer. However, there are a few that are rescue squad equipment that we will be reimbursed for that expense. That is approximately $33,000. And then, maintenance tools, that they're still replacing those tools from the fire. We are moving a combined total of $36,000 out of general fund reserves to cover those items. Road fund is moving from reserves into sign material, $5,000. And that is all of the transfers that are coming from reserves. The others are just departmental transfers.
Motion to approve the budget appropriation transfers.
Second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approve payment of the bills.
Motion to pay the bills, Judge.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn?
You all have
Motion to
something
adjourn.
you want from me?
Yes.
I do have that.
The information on the responsible bidder.
Yes. Our ordinance affects any bids that come through the fiscal court that are awarded by the fiscal court. It does not affect other completely separate agencies like the school board, the refuge district, or the cities.
Okay.
But any bids that flow through this court are governed by that ordinance.
That ordinance, okay.
What does that do for like health departments, libraries?
Well,
I know that budget doesn't flow through here, but we appoint those boards or.
I think it only
have something
applies
to do. Okay.
if you actually put out the bid through this court.
It's our dollars
Because-
for this body.
Well, the health department they're governed at the state level.
Right.
The library board, even though you appoint them, they're their own taxing district too.
I just didn't know if that had anything to do with that. Okay.
See, I think the health department's even governed by the Model Procurement Act through the state. Julie's here, she could tell us.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Yes, motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.